is Becky, and I hit record. All right. All right. So I'm glad you're here. I am actually a certified yoga therapist, and I've been specializing in the nervous system for a while now. Just haven't really put it out there to everyone. But more importantly, I'm someone who's spent years feeling broken because meditation and breath work didn't always work for me. And that's kind of how I've become a little bit of a specialist on some of these techniques that I use now with my clients. I have downloaded lots of different apps, tried a lot of different techniques, gone to a lot of yoga classes, and done my own practice a lot, and frequently felt frustrated because I was still stressed afterwards, and even today, still sometimes stressed. I thought something was fundamentally wrong with me, but nope, that's not what was going on. It wasn't until I learned about how the nervous system actually works and discovered that I was using the wrong practices for my current state of being. That's why things weren't always working for me. But when I learned the different the states of the nervous system, that's when things started to change for me. So now I help overwhelmed, high achieving women understand their unique nervous system so they can finally experience the deep, lasting calm they've been searching for, just like I was. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to share a framework that changed everything for me and has helped my clients. So we're going to dive in here. And I know if you're like me, you've been doing everything right. You downloaded the app Calm or Insight Timer, which is my favorite. You've tried meditation. Maybe you even bought the premium subscription, hoping they could lead you through it. But what's happening here is that you sit down to meditate, and within seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, pretty fast, your mind starts racing faster than before, or you fall asleep. I've done that. Instead of meditating, I've fallen asleep. Um, and it leads to more anxiety, more stress because you think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Everyone else seems to be able to do this. Why can't I do this? Why can't I make it work? But the truth is, there's nothing wrong with you. The app isn't broken. You're not broken. But there is something critical missing that nobody talks about. And that's what we're going to discuss today. So, in the next bit, I'm going to show you exactly why generic meditation practices often backfire, what your nervous system actually needs instead, and I'll give you a simple way to know which practice to use when, so you can finally experience that deep calm that, if you're like me, you've been chasing on and off for a while now. So, your nervous system isn't just on or off. It's constantly moving between three main states throughout your day. That's the way it was designed. And if it is resilient, it's going to move from one state to the other. And that is normal. Sometimes we get stuck in one of these states. And these three states, I'm going to go through them one at a time and see if you recognize any of them. So we'll start with the dorsal vagal state. This is the shutdown or freeze mode. In this mode, you feel exhausted, numb, disconnected, can't get motivated to do anything. Then there's the sympathetic state. This is the fight or flight mode. And if you are in a traumatic moment, this is what's going to be activated. But in the sympathetic state, you have racing thoughts, anxious, you're restless, your heart might be pounding. And then in the ventral vagal state, this is the safe and social state where you are calm, you're grounded, connected, and present. This is where you might want to be all the time, but you're not going to operate out of it all the time. You are, as I said, you are going to flow in and out between these different states. But if you can know the tools to get you into that safe social ventral vagal state, then that is really helpful to get you balanced out. And here's what the meditation apps don't tell you though. Practice that calms you depends entirely on where you are on that ladder. So if you think of your nervous system as a ladder, you are going to move up and down it, right? And those apps don't tell you where you are. So if you think of the ventral vagal state, you are in that middle range. That's when you're calm and grounded. And we'll go over this a little bit more later, but think of if you're on a scale of 1 to 10, this is where you're in that middle ground of 4 to 6. Now, if you're in that sympathetic nervous state, you are highly activated. And that's on that 1 to 10 scale is going to be like a 7 or a 10 to 10. And if you are in that dorsal vagal state, that shutdown mode, you're not very activated at all. That's when you're numb and disconnected and you have very low activation. That's going to be that 1 to 3. Those numbers we'll go back into them in a little bit, but think about the latter as you think about your nervous system. So if you're in a state of sympathetic activation and you try to sit still and focus on your breath, you're basically asking your revved up nervous system to slam on the brakes. That's why it feels impossible. Your body literally can't do it. That's not the way it's designed. So picture this. It's 2 in the afternoon. You've had back-to-back meetings. You've just had a tense conversation with someone. Maybe it's someone at work, maybe it's your teenager or a parent or a sibling, it doesn't matter, but you've had a tense conversation and then you look at your to-do list and it's screaming at you because it's so long and you just feel totally wired from everything that's happening. You're highly activated. So you remember, maybe you have an alarm on your phone that tells you, "Oh, I need to meditate." So you sit down, you close your eyes, and the app says, "Focus on your breath." But your heart is racing, your jaw is clenched, your shoulders are probably up to your ears, and you're having all these anxious thoughts about having anxious thoughts, and you just can't do it, right? You quit. You just turn it off and feel like a failure. But you're not failing. Again, you're just using the wrong tool for your current nervous system state. So what you need instead of just the generic app is you need to use a state matched practice instead. This is choosing the right nervous system tool based on your current state. So we're going to talk about the three different states and what it might feel like to be in those and what might help you. So when you're in the sympathetic state, this is when you're anxious, wired, that racing mind. Think of in the old times, the cliche is the tiger's chasing you, right? You're activated, you're ready, you're motivated to move, right? So what doesn't work here is stillness. Long exhales, guided body scans, those are going to be really, really hard. There's a reason why Shavasana comes at the end of a yoga class, usually, because most people are too revved up to do it at the beginning. So we put it at the end. So what does work when you're in this sympathetic state? It's movement first. It's active breathing, rhythmic practices. This helps because you need to release the activation a bit before you can start to calm down your nervous system. Now, when you're in that dorsal state, that shutdown mode where you're feeling numb, depleted, or exhausted, what doesn't work here is deep relaxation or restorative poses or slow breathing. Instead, gentle, energizing breath, light movement, social connection. This is helpful because you're already so shut down. You need to come up the ladder, not go deeper. So if we tried to put you in a restorative pose when you're feeling very depleted or exhausted, chances are you're probably just going to fall asleep because your body's it's can't go lower, it's just going to go to sleep, right? Because you're probably tired already. Now, when you're in the ventral state, that's that middle ground. That's where you're already relatively calm. Here you have choices. You don't need to change your state of being in order to practice. Instead, you get to amplify it with things like traditional meditation, breath work, and stillness practices like restorative yoga. This is when those apps actually work. So you can pull up your Insight Timer or Calm and use any of the meditations that they have on there, and you'll really benefit from it. But most of us aren't here when we think to practice. So, how do you know what to practice when? This is really the key. This is what helps you be successful in your practice, right? So, before any practice, you check in with yourself about these three areas. And this is just a quick body check in and you check in with your energy level, you check in with your breath quality, and you check in with your mental state. And for those of you who attend classes with me, I do those at the beginning of class. Ask you to check in with your breath, your body, and your thoughts, right? So there's a quick check in. You just don't know why I'm doing it. And now you do. And we're going to look at those three individually here and go back to that ladder, that 1 to 10 scale that we were using. When you check in with your energy level, ask yourself, am I wired and activated? If you are, then you are in that high activation state. You're probably a 7 or a 10 on the scale. If you feel shut down or depleted, you're definitely in that low activation and you are in that shutdown mode, right? And if you're in that middle ground, you're probably a 4 to 6 on the ladder. Now, when you check in with your breath, ask yourself, how is breath today? Is it shallow and high in my chest? So many of us go around breathing into our chest really fast and it is shallow. And this is something that you do when you're anxious, when you're really stressed. So that is definitely a high activation quality. Now, if you can't quite catch your breath or find yourself holding your breath a lot, you might be in that low activation state. And if your breath is just slow, heavy, or deep, it's that's that middle ground that you're trying to get to. Now, when you think about your mental state, are your thoughts racing? Are they spiraling down? That is definitely going to be high activation. If you're blank or foggy, having really a hard time concentrating, yeah, you've got that low activation happening. You're in that shutdown mode. And if thoughts are relatively clear, you know these times when you can really focus, you can make headway on that project that you're working on, you can make decisions really easily. You are definitely in that middle ground when you have that relatively clear mind. Now, thinking about these three aspects of your being, rather, where would you put yourself? So overall, if you're identifying with the 7 and 10 range on that ladder, movement, you're highly activated. So movement or active breathing first can really be helpful before you try to maybe meditate. If you are, you know, coming in at that low activation, a gentle energizing practice first. Think some sun salutations, just gentle sun salutations might be helpful. And if you are in that middle range, then definitely your meditation app is ready to work for you. So just think about those where you are even right now. Now, we'll go back to that in just a moment on where you are right now. But first, let's talk about box breathing. This is a simple breathing practice that you can adapt based on your state. This is something you can use anywhere, anytime, and it actually works with your nervous system instead of against it. So box breathing is kind of what it sounds like. And we're going to talk about some variations, but first, box breathing is inhaling, pausing, exhaling, pausing, and at an equal rate. Now, I've got 4 on here. That's arbitrary. You could do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It depends on your own breath and what's comfortable for you. Often I use 4 just because it's something that most people can do. So you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4 again. And that is 1 round of box breathing. Now, here's where it gets to be more effective if you customize it. So if you are highly activated, you're in that anxious, wired state, you want your emphasis to be on your exhale. You're still going to do all the parts of the box breathing, but really emphasize your exhale. The exhale will give your nervous system a moment to recalibrate. If you are on that low activation, you're exhausted and shut down, then you're again doing all parts of the box breathing, but your focus will be on the inhale. You can imagine drawing that breath up your spine, even, but focus on that inhale. And if you are in that middle range, this is where equal breathing with gentle awareness on all parts of the cycle. This is the traditional mindful breathing that actually feels good. I use this quite a lot myself. And when I'm in that middle ground, my box breathing, I can really expand it because it is very comforting to my body and I can really enjoy it. So, we're going to try this out. But first, do a quick body check. Where are you on that 1 to 10 scale right now? Check in with your energy level, check in with your breath quality, check in with your mental state. Notice how you feel right now. And would you put yourself at that highly activated state, you're anxious, at that low activated state where you are shut down, or somewhere in the middle? Choose your variation. We're going to practice box breathing together. I'm going to guide you through it. So you're either focusing on the exhale if you're anxious, focusing on the inhale if you're feeling a little shut down, or all four parts if you are even or middle ground. All right, let me bring up the slide for the box breathing again. Okay, so let's do this together. I'm going to again walk you through it. Take a normal breath in and normal breath out. And then inhale for 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. One more round. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Normal breath in, normal breath out. And again, check in with your body. How do you feel now? Was there a shift? Do you still feel like you did before? There's no wrong answer there, but it is great awareness, a good time to check in with yourself after a practice like that. And that was short. You can do box breathing for 5, 10 minutes, however long you want. The longer the practice, it does take more concentration because our mind will get distracted. But just a short practice like that can still be really beneficial. That was 5 rounds. So, again, notice your body at this point. So, this is just one breathing technique with variations. Imagine having an entire toolkit where you know which breath pattern to use and when, right? When you know when your nervous system needs movement versus stillness, and when you know how to read your body signals throughout the day, and which restorative yoga poses actually help and which might backfire at times. and how to build somatic awareness so you catch activation before it becomes overwhelm. I mean, that's really the key, is to be able to understand your nervous system so that you don't get to that overwhelmed state or that completely shut down state. You don't want to be at the extremes of either end of that ladder. You want to be able to flex and flow between the states, and being able to read your body so that you can tweak, make changes as you need. That's really key. So remember, I told you I tried a lot of different things: apps, videos, different techniques, lots of trainings, um, and things. I would take bits and pieces from things and use what worked for me. So that was my own way of finding my own toolkit. But it wasn't until I really understood my nervous system that I learned to start to match the practice to my state, that everything started to click for me, because before that I didn't understand why some things worked sometimes but not all the time. That was really the key, was understanding my nervous system. So that's what I teach now to my clients, my private clients, what I teach to in my online program, Rest and Reclaim. It's how to become fluent in your nervous system's language. And I just wanted to bring a little taste of that to you tonight, about how checking in with your nervous system can help you work with it instead of against it. So imagine waking up in the morning, and instead of immediately feeling that familiar anxiety creeping in, you do a quick body check. You choose a short practice and help your system to settle into where it needs to be. Imagine noticing mid-afternoon when you're getting really wired, and instead of pushing through and crashing later, you know which tool to pull out. And imagine lying in bed at night, and instead of your mind spinning for an hour or 2 or 3, I know we've all been there, you guide yourself into deep restorative sleep because you know how to signal safety to your nervous system. That's not fantasy. That's what happens when you stop using cookie cutter approaches, and when you start checking in with your body and noticing where you are and when you need to make a shift. And that's working with your unique nervous system, because what works for one person at one time is not going to work for somebody else. So that really is important to check in. If this little sampling of checking in with your nervous system and learning a breathing technique that works for you, if this is interesting, know that what I've shared today is just the tip of the iceberg. This is literally what I talk about in the first week of my 6-week program, Rest and Reclaim. This is over the 6 weeks in that program, I walk you through understanding your nervous system in depth so you become your own best expert. We talk about mastering multiple breathwork techniques. One of them is box breathing, and knowing when to use each one. We talk about restorative yoga practices that create profound releases, not just relaxation. I mean, the relaxation is so important, but just the release that comes with it is even more important. We talk about somatic awareness practices so you can read your body signals in real time and know which tool you need out of your toolkit. And there's integrated movement that serves as nervous system medicine. This creates your personalized toolkit so that by the end, you have your unique system that works for your life, not my life. What works for me, again, is not what's going to work for you. So I'm more interested in helping you find your own personalized toolkit. I know you might be thinking, I've tried things before, like the apps, I've tried videos and things like that, and it doesn't always work for me. The difference in is that this isn't about adding more to your life, or your to-do list. This is about understanding the why behind each practice and the when to use it. It's about building body literacy so you're never guessing again. You get access to the entire program. I'm adding in monthly Q&A calls. There's a Facebook community, audio recordings that you can use anytime. I've separated them out so you can go back and use them without going through the lessons. And if you're tired of fighting with that app that just isn't working, if you're tired of feeling like you're doing everything right, but still feeling anxious and overwhelmed, if you're tired of the one size fits all approach that doesn't fit you, then this is a really helpful tool for you. I have opened up Rest and Reclaim. The enrollment is open for it right now, and I'd love to have you join us. If you are at all interested, please do check it out. I am curious how you're feeling right now after checking in with your body. And so I'm going to open this up to questions or comments about the brief practice we just did. And I will put a link to the program in the chat so that you can check it out. And I'm going to change this format out of webinar at this point so that you can talk with me instead of typing to me. I know it'll be easier that way. Give me just a moment to do that. Now, I think you're going to need to turn on your cameras and your audio at this point if you have any questions that you want to ask me. I hear somebody.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to check and see if you could hear me. So,
I can. Hi,
okay.
Patrice.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually good.
Yeah.
Yes. Box breathing is helpful. I do like that. I can see where you could lose your concentration very quickly. Were you not
Mhm.
counting? I probably would have already been, counting birds somewhere. So
Right.
that's definitely something you have to focus on. But I wanted to ask because you mentioned, like, if
Mhm.
you find yourself laying in the bed at night, it's 3 a.m. and you know you're in the sympathetic state, and
Mhm.
movement is supposed to be what helps you.
Mhm.
Where do you go from there?
So, after a little bit of movement, you may find that you're in a place where you can sit and do some box breathing or another practice. Um, it helps to get out of bed sometimes and do a little bit of movement.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Is I if
Yeah.
for me, once my feet hit the floor, if I'm standing and open my eyes and move around, then I'm done. I can't go back to sleep at all.
Yep. Yep.
But you're
So,
saying that might actually help me go back to sleep.
right. So the box breathing can help once you've moved around just a little bit. And I'm not talking like super active
Jumping
movement.
jacks,
No,
right?
no, no. Don't go running anywhere.
Don't worry.
But just some gentle movement, just, some twists, some I walking around. I don't know what you might wanna do, but just some gentle movement,
Yeah.
and, then allow yourself to sit and try some box breathing. The
Okay.
box breathing is really helpful for well, depending on if you're activated, remember, you're going to use your focus is on the exhale.
Okay.
Right? You're
Yes.
still doing all 4 parts of the box breathing, but, like, the exhale might be instead of just a
Okay. That's the next thing I was going to ask you. Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So, and if your focus is on the inhale, it's and then the exhale might be a gentle.
Gotcha.
So, you can really change the body state with the breath. It's really the breath is fascinating to me because it's something that you can control, but you don't have to control.
Mhm.
Which thank goodness, right? We don't have to think about breathing. But you can really change your body state with your breath.
Okay. That makes more sense now.
Yep.
That's perfect.
And
Thank
what I have found in my own self is if I'm having trouble going to sleep, I'll play with breath for a little bit. There's some other breathing techniques you can do, but I'll play with breath a little bit. And if I'm still not going to sleep, I'm usually at a middle ground at that point.
you. Mhm.
Then I put myself in a restorative type pose while I'm in bed.
Okay.
And I may not go into a deep sleep right away, but my body is relaxing.
Mhm.
And the more I relax, the more my mind relax. And interestingly enough, on the nights when I feel like I haven't slept, but I've put myself in a restorative mode for most of the night, my watch tells me how well I've rested, right? It thinks I've slept. And so I'm like, okay, that tells me I am really getting something out of it,
Right.
even though my mind didn't shut down. Like I prefer the whole, close my eyes and don't think again for the next 8 hours.
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, though. It ties in together. It all makes perfect sense. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of training yourself, like you said.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Could
thank
you
you.
could you tell a difference from when you checked in before we did the practice tonight and even that brief one and then just a little bit later?
Well, I could specifically because right as we were getting started, I had some kerfluffling going on around me, and it got me agitated because I'm like, "Damn it, I'm trying to relax." And then so then when you had me to do that, it definitely helped to slow my breathing down and focus on relaxing as opposed to reacting. So,
Nice.
yeah, that was good.
Yep, that short little practice, that's sometimes all you need.
Well, I can tell you I'm gonna need a lot more than 5 rounds, but but I appreciate the encouragement.
Well, with practice, that resilience, that fluidity between the
Mhm.
different states gets easier.
Right,
So that
because you're training your own body.
Mhm.
Yep,
Exactly. Yeah.
that's awesome.
This is cool stuff.
It is cool stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Are we alone here together?
I think Donna's still on here. Yep, Donna's still here,
Okay,
and we are still recording.
okay, so I'll behave in case you need this for future business reference.
Here we go. I don't know that I have access to this since I took this off the webinar mode, did I lose the Nope, there's the chat.
Yeah, a new, this is new to me, the live webinar.
Yeah, I haven't used it in a while. So, like we talked about the other night, technology shifts so fast.
It sure does. No, we cannot hear you. Did you give your computer permission to access your
Yeah,
microphone?
me I'm gonna request it again.
It popped up for me, Donna, as a separate pop-up box and just basically said,
I think it's coming in
"Becky's."
now.
Yeah.
Yep, there she
Yeah.
is.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Donna.
Hello. I was I was just talking away, but you guys can hear me. Um, it's like every day at
Just
work
like,
too.
yeah, I was gonna just like being around with your
Come off
spouse.
mute. Um, no, I was gonna say I and it's very, very helpful. It has a lot of semblance to cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm,
Which is some things I know Becky, I was just mentioning to you just some struggles that, and Patrice knows this too, but some struggles we've had with my older daughter and her health issues, and she would go into kind of she was definitely in that 7 to 10 like fight or flight, like just ex-
uh-oh.
We lost her.
Yeah, Donna, we all of a sudden we lost your sound. She's still here. We'll give her a moment here. It's always the way, right? In the middle of something, it goes
That's
silent.
look, this is the story of my day to day. Okay. And this is why I'm in sympathetic state regularly.
Mhm. Well, technology does, it makes life easier, but it doesn't make life easier.
Just creates a new set of problems. It's just a
Right.
different level of frustration.
Exactly.
You got
Yep.
it.
Yep. There's so much of life that, yeah, we could put in that category.
Yeah, did she just type lost you again?
Oh, she just did put something in the chat. Yep, she lost us again. Let me see if I have to give her.
Yeah, I wonder if you do.
I can hear you now.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Hey, we can hear
there you
you.
are.
That is so weird. I don't know. Could you hear anything I said?
You were talking about your daughter and the being highly activated.
Yeah, and so the cognitive part of what we did with cognitive behavioral therapy would help, but what I didn't know was the 3 stages.
Mhm,
So that's very helpful to understand and take that check of, are you in that
mhm.
1 to 4, or are you in the middle, or are you at the higher end, and knowing that because you immediately want to go into, well, I'm going to do this breathing technique. But if you're in that bottom, then what you're going to do there is a little different. And to
Mhm.
Patrice's point earlier, especially women of our age, the 3 a.m. wake up is kind of a regular cadence and it's frustrating. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I hear you. I've been there myself, and it's for me, the breath really does help, but I've practiced it a good bit, but
yeah.
it is a tool that you can easily bring into, any setting. You can
Right.
lay there and breathe, and, you don't even have to go anywhere to do it.
Mhm.
And there are some other breathing techniques. One that, has been proven to be very helpful is 4-7-8. That technique's a little bit different where you inhale for 4, hold for 7, and then exhale for 8, and then you
Mhm.
just start around. Now, I will say, personally, I don't always do a continuous practice. Often, I'll do a regular breath in the middle.
Mhm.
So, like, I'll do a box breathing round and then do a regular breath. Um, to me, it's just a little bit easier,
Mhm.
but you can do a continuous as well.
I can see that. The longer with the extended, I've done the 4-7-8. That's the one that I've often used, and that exhale on the 8 sometimes is
It's a lot.
it's a lot. But also just I mean, it makes perfect sense because I've been using the breathing techniques the only ones that I've known when I'm agitated or awake and my mind is racing and I can't go back to sleep, and it makes so much more sense why it's not working because I
Yeah.
need to incorporate some type of movement. There was an expression they used to say, nervous energy is what is it? Anxiety is just your body telling you you need to move it. And so that's matches with that perfectly. So that makes absolute sense to me.
Yeah, and with just that little bit of movement, sometimes that's all you need, just a little bit to acknowledge it. This is the way with so much in the body. As soon as you acknowledge it, it starts to shift.
Right.
So if you acknowledge the anxiety and bring in a little bit of movement, kind of shaking it off, that can be enough just to say, "Okay, I'm aware. There it is."
Now
It
shut up
won't
and go back to sleep.
it may not go away completely, but it'll start to shift, and that's when you can say, "Okay, now let me breathe a little bit and focus on the exhale."
Right.
Whichever breathing pattern you're using, the exhale, you can also just do a simple inhale, exhale, but exhale being longer than inhale.
Mhm. Okay. Just exaggerated, and it's gonna be
Mhm.
the exhale for that
So if you
agitated state
if
every time.
you yep, if you inhale for 3, you're exhaling for 4 or 5.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Mhm.
I would have used that last night, TBH. So I'm if it hits me again tonight, you can bet that's what I'm gonna be doing, and I'm gonna keep trying it until my body learns that I mean business.
There you go. You have to teach it new tricks, right?
Exactly. Exactly, and this is as fancy as we're getting these days, so oh gosh. Well,
I
that's
love
awesome, Becky. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Please share it with anybody and everybody, and whether it's just this tip or it's the whole course or, anything in between, because we all need this right now.
You got that right.
Yeah,
Yep.
we all need this. Yeah. Any other questions for me?
I don't think so.
No, not for me. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here tonight. It's always more fun when I have somebody live.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Uh,
it's so fun talking to yourself. Thanks again, Becky.
You are very welcome.